Buckle up, guys, for a story of how Vlad was testing mobile apps. End-to-end testing known for its flakiness and slow speed. Mobile apps added a bunch of complicated environment setup and build processes on top of that. Although it is relatively comfortable to write and run tests for native platforms, things start to go off hand quickly when there is more stuff on top, stuff like React Native. I wanted to get into that scene and see what's changed since the last time. Typically on a React Native project, you have a native project here already, so you can configure this in a way you need. You are not facing the dependency on a separate client app that is actually runs your code. There are two ways to automate testing on the actual device nowadays, Appium and Detox. Unfortunately, both of them have their own issues and intricacies. Take Appium for example. It feels like it is designed web first and mobile devices came as the afterthought, which is not true. Maybe that's a selenium that is leaving its mark. As for Detox, technically it is a gray box testing. It suffers the same problem as Appium on how to hide the splash screen and detect that the app is ready to run. So I took my old app, Trivia, and made tests for it. Initially, on my first workflow, I relied on the Expo host app. On a Circle CI job, it will download the app and install it on simulator. Then it will open a deep link which determines from which branch it's supposed to get built from. Each branch corresponds to a designated release channel. I needed some time to get familiar with and figure out why tests not running. They seem to always hang up on the first time screen and runner never sees that the app is ready. I knew that I had to go look at the host app's code to see for myself what is going on. Likely they have open sourced it, so I just needed to find my way through Objective-C jungles. Then I had to go read documentation on the Xcode UI tests for iOS and UI Automator 2 APIs to figure out how to dismiss the first time action sheet. I was not familiar much with it and had some trouble. Suddenly I found myself spending time reviewing separate app to find out how to overcome stupid window even before writing any test of my own. Even if I managed to dismiss the window, the app would still be stuck in a weird state, not knowing if it's ready to run the tests or not. This happens to both Appium and Detox. Likely, there is a solution that works for Detox. The solution, though, is a piece of work. But what if we just make a build, one would suggest? We could always do that, right? I've tried that too. It works well for CI builds, but pretty much killing the development experience, because every time there is a change in the code, I can't just build a JavaScript bundle. I have to rebuild the whole native app for that. I needed to submit a job to ES for build and wait around 15 minutes to do that. By the end of the exploring, I actually worked out a working solution. With all of this effort spent, when there is actually an elegant solution available already, Expo Dev Client and the config plugins to the rescue. With the custom dev client, the plugin will configure the build with all the necessary steps required. So you can just use it like with React Native. After you made a custom build, you are free to rebuild JavaScript bundle as fast as you can. The deal with Expo Dev Client is Expo Config plugins that goes hand to hand with it. It is essentially a configuration as code. It generates a native project every time, which you or packages can customize, leaving the need to maintain it. I mean, you still have to maintain the code, but the responsibility of it lies within Expo X packages. With the new Expo SDK upgrade, when they introduce breaking changes, I know that I can always regenerate the project and know what did what. Especially helpful for people who just want to focus on building or people who are less familiar with the native. Anyway, so this is what I did. Now I don't need to download the official client. I just need to pre-build dev client and run Detox build. The same process applies to Appium. I haven't had a chance to run it on the Circle side though. I imagine there could be some additional research and tension on properly configuring it, just like Detox. In Appium case, it's a bit more complicated. You have to run an Appium server and probably JavaScript bundle on top. Didn't find much purpose and stayed on Detox. As a result, I've set up an automated workflow to test mobile apps and running it on CI. The workflow performs unit and end-to-end testing on Expo by creating a local build. Development experience ended up quite nice. I am receiving immediate feedback from refreshing JavaScript bundle and rerunning the tests. Nice and fast. The local build does take some time to compile. Thankfully, I don't have to run it much. The workflow looks more straightforward compared to hacking on official clients. One caveat on running custom dev client though is it changes the QA workflow. QA is no longer able to just download official host app through Marketplace and needed to register their device ID and install custom provision profile. That's something that you don't have to use for QA and can just stick with the good old test flight. As usual, I am attaching the source repo in description if you want to check. Cheers.